call for this process to feed into the African Common Position and also into the Open Working Group's work on the SDGs. We also take heed the need for Africa to better manage its natural capital. I'm sure most of the work that has been done in this context will provide direction for how we can do that. Now, our next speaker is from the United Nations Environmental Program, and the speaker is Mr. Samba Harouna Thiam. He's the SDG focal point in UNEP. Mr. Thiam, please take the floor.
Ato Adamsu Nebebe, Director of UN Agencies and Regional Economic Cooperation Directorate at the Ministry of Finance and Economic Development of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia. Dear colleagues from the African Union Commission, dear colleagues from the United Nations system, dear representatives from the African countries, dear development partners, representatives from major groups and civil society organizations, ladies and gentlemen. The Rio Plus 20 conference was an important stock-taking of the world's progress towards sustainable development. One key Rio Plus 20 outcome was the call for an intergovernmental working group to develop Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, with the technical support of the UN system. An important message was that this new set of goals should carefully consider and balance the three dimensions of sustainable development. Many and diverse stakeholders have since then proposed different types of SDGs. Although some countries are making commendable records in meeting the MDGs, according to the latest reports, Africa's performance varies across and within countries, and its aggregate performance masks wide economic, social, and spatial inequalities, as well as governance challenges. Today, unemployment remains high, particularly among the youth. Access to health, education, water services, and adequate energy continue to be a cause of concern in many countries. Africa's population is expected to constitute about 23% of the global population by 2015. This growing population already includes 239 million persons classified as malnourished. This places huge demands on governments to provide opportunities for food security. Adverse effects of climate change, combined with political instabilities together with environmental governance challenges here and there, are anticipated to further constrain the achievement of MDGs by African countries. Overall, the rhythm of MDGs achievement in the continent is too slow to meet the goals by the target dates. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, recently the UN Secretary General issued a report to the 6th General Assembly session where he emphasized that, I quote, a new post-2015 era demands a new vision and a responsive framework. Sustainable development, enabled by integration of economic growth, social justice, and environmental stewardship, must become our global guiding principles and operational standards, end of quote. Concretely, it means that there must be bold in ambition, but simple in design. Universal in nature, yet responsive to the complexities, needs, and capacities of individual countries and regions. Protective of planets is biodiversity, water, and land. Rights-based with particular emphasis on women, young people, and marginalized groups. Eager for new and innovative partnership, and supported by pioneering approach to data and rigorous accountability mechanisms. Ladies and gentlemen, a single, balanced, and comprehensive set of goals and agenda, universal to all nations, would aim to eradicate all forms of poverty and integrate sustainable development in all its dimensions, balancing the economic, social, and environmental dimensions in a way which be aspirational, transformational, inclusive, and universal in nature. With the decision of member states on a set of SDGs still at least a year away, the need for a systematic framework for deciding on such a set of integrated goals cannot be overemphasized. This calls for an approach that ensures that environment is embedded in the SDGs. Therefore, there should be a strong linkage with environmental goals where environment is strongly linked to social and economic dimensions of sustainable development issues in an integrated manner, thereby balancing those three pillars as per the spirit of Rio+20 outcome documents. A proper mechanism to track the progress of the SDGs backed up with measurable targets and indicators. A strong scientific basis. Goals and targets should be based on an accepted science, and support should be available from the entire scientific communities to implement them. Irreversible change in the global environment. Priority should be given to goals and targets that help avoid critical irreversible change of the global environment. Coverage of other critical issues of environmental sustainability. The final set of selected goals and targets should cover as many critical environmental sustainability issues as possible while adhering to the ambition of the Rio+20 to keep SDGs concise and limited in number. SDGs should take into account current global goals and targets, therefore, building on the unfinished business in respect to MDGs. They can do so by using current goals and targets as a ground floor for the new goals and targets, incorporating a small number of important goals and targets showing slow progress. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as we gather here for the regional consultative meeting, which is meant to effectively prepare Africa to speak with one strong voice, to articulate and rally international support for SDGs that take into consideration Africa's development priorities in the one hand, and lay a firm foundation for the ownership, championship, domestication, and implementation of the activities toward the achievement of SDGs by all key partners and stakeholders in the region. In the other hand, it's our sincere hope that the above-mentioned criteria would be given due consideration as the SDG formulation process reaches its critical phase. UNEP stands ready to provide its full support in this process alongside with African Union Commission, UNECA, African Development Bank, UNDP, and all development partners for the achievement of the future we want as stipulated in the Rio+ outcome document. I wish you fruitful deliberations, and I thank you for your attention.